Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So tonight, I'm talking about Bitcoin and how one Bloomberg analyst thinks that 100K is right around the corner, and it will definitely happen. And I'm going to explain his rationale. And also, let's talk about Marc Cuban basically taking a big dump on Cardano. Marc Cuban has been very outspoken about Cardano for whatever reason, and he goes more into it. So let's take a look at that as well, and also a few other positive news. So let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell. Get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and make sure you follow brand new channels. All right. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing good. You know, altcoins are doing very good today. Entire crypto market cap is going up and up and up, despite the fact that Bitcoin is still kind of stuck right here under 24,000. But the entire space is going up. We're a little bit higher than this morning, I believe. Actually, we're probably pretty close, but we're still above 1.1 trillion, so 1.12 to be exact. So that's pretty positive. Ethereum still close to 1,800. BNB still around 320s, although it got up to 330s. And pretty much a lot of greens. So today, even though Bitcoin didn't break through 24.2 or wherever it was, 24.3, it's trying to break through, still hasn't, right? It's still kind of stuck there, but you know it's just a matter of time. Once it breaks through, good things are going to happen. That's why one analyst thinks 100K is coming and right around the corner. Now, before I get to that, what else is going on? I mean, just looking at markets right now, it's kind of flat. I did mention this morning, Wednesday, big CPI number, big inflation numbers coming. So I think from today to Wednesday, probably not going to see a whole lot of movement. I guess we'll see what happens when the inflation number comes out. A lot of people think that we will see inflation go down slightly because July is just a better month versus June. So as simple as that. But, you know, there are some people that still think we're in for a long recession. Like longtime bull Cathie Wood warns investors about the big problem in today's economy. And she likes 3 stocks. And guess what they are? No surprise, Tesla, Zoom, and Roku. Interesting enough, Roku out of nowhere. But she's a big Bitcoin bull, but she happened to sell Coinbase a week before it jumped up enormously. And that's because BlackRock got involved, right? And she says, well, you know, we didn't like SEC probing them. But since she's a big Bitcoin bull, I don't know why she dumped her Coinbase at a huge loss and then missed out on tremendous gains. So I don't quite know. So we will see if she's right, if we're going to be in a long recession, and whether or not this recession really matters, because we know that this recession is caused by a singular person, Fed Chairman Powell, Jerome Powell. He did this on purpose. This is a Fed-induced recession to try to slow down inflation, right? So is it going to be all that bad? I guess we'll wait and see. All right. What else is going on today? Well, let's just talk about Marc Cuban. Marc Cuban criticizes and takes a dump on Cardano. I don't know what it is with Cardano. I think ever since Charles Hoskinson shot back at Marc, that kind of rubbed him the wrong way, right? You know, I think Marc Cuban doesn't see anyone being his equal. I mean, he may not realize that Charles is just as rich as him, if not even more so. I think Charles could be even richer than Marc. But in Marc's viewpoint, right, you could tell, especially on Shark Tank, he thinks he has the biggest stick, so that means he's always right. So ever since Charles ever shot back at him on Twitter, I think he's been he just has not said anything good about Cardano at all, not one bit. So Altcoin Daily just had him on. So Altcoin Daily did talk a lot about everything. And then he talks about Cardano once again. So you guys are free to watch the interview, though they broke it up like 4 different videos. But he talks about, oh, here's kind of like a quoted section about how, well, this whole thing with Africa, right? That's not making any money. There's no transactions. So they basically have no impact at all. Their smart contract came out, but I don't see anyone using it. In fact, I think Doge has more people using it. It has more utility than Cardano. Right? But, you know, Adam D wanted to have a constructive conversation about Cardano. And basically, Marc Cuban in this, I don't know, this kind of shows you Marc probably doesn't even know anything about Cardano, because this whole conversation, he was referring to Cardano as Cardana. And at first I thought it was just a mistype, right? But every tweet, he's talking about Cardana, right? Again, just kind of just saying no one uses it. No one outside Twitter, ADA, uses it. I don't know anyone that ever uses any dApps. You know, at least Doge, you could use it to buy things mostly because the, Mavs take it. But that's it. That's it. I mean, bottom line is Marc Cuban, not a fan of Cardano. He doesn't have the patience for it. Maybe Charles, like I said, rubbed him the wrong way. And it is what it is, right? In my opinion, I think Marc will come around. Marc tends to hop on the bandwagon, okay? Let's not forget he did poo-poo on everything back in 2017. And then he jumped in 2021 when things were really hot. He also jumped in many projects like Iron Finance when it was really hot and it collapsed. And then he just said, oh, okay, I got out in time, whether that's true or not. So I think right now he's doing what everyone else is doing, basically following the price. And one day when Cardano does regain its traction, starts coming up, starts getting the user and traction, he'll probably come around then. But until then, he's no fan of Cardano. All right. What else is there? You know, Tornado Cash is also not... Well, let me take that back. The U.S. is rubbed the wrong way by Tornado Cash, just like Marc is rubbed the wrong way by Charles, or the vice versa, however you want to say that. But anyways, the crypto mixing service Tornado Cash is now blacklisted by the U.S. Treasury. U.S. Treasury says that Tornado Cash is used by North Korean hackers. And because of it, and because of how much they have stolen, including Ronin hack, which is like 600 million plus, and many others like Harmony's hack, right? So they are banning it. U.S. citizens are not allowed to use Tornado Cash. But here's the thing. How will they know? No one knows. How will the U.S. Treasury know if you use it or not? Right? The whole point is Tornado Cash is supposed to be anonymous. There's no founders. There's no one running out of the community, so how would they know? Well, I guess how they know is by enforcing the stable coins and possibly the exchanges to blacklist the addresses. And it started happening. Circle, which of course is the company behind USDC, they are freezing all transactions going to any address associated with Tornado Cash. So it's starting, and pretty soon, I'm pretty sure Coinbase and everyone else is going to announce that they will not allow transactions to any Tornado Cash wallet address, right? At least the ones that's been blacklisted. So I guess this is how the Treasury Department plans on enforcing it. But I mean, honestly, I don't know what else. What else could be done? If you want to use it, you could use it. No one's going to stop you from doing so, right? But kind of interesting how that's going. What else is there? Dave Portnoy, once upon a time he was paper hands. Now he's back into Bitcoin hardcore. He claims he's being sued by Safemoon, right? Remember I told you guys a lot of people kept getting on my case. Oh, George, you're missing out on a Safemoon. It's better than SHIB, and it's go dominate the world. Not one person has asked me about Safemoon for the last 6 months. And Dave Portnoy says he's down 90% and he's being sued because he said some bad things about Safemoon, I guess, over the last 6 months or 8 months. So there's that. This is one of the reasons why I don't trust any meme coins really outside of SHIB and Doge. Everything else just, they can't last. They don't have the loyal holders, I guess, okay? The zealots that SHIB holders or SHIB has and Doge has, right? All right, now moving on to Bitcoin. Mike McGlone, Bloomberg analyst or strategic commodities guy, he's saying Bitcoin is going to hit 100K. It's just a matter of time. You just have to give it some time. And why does he say that? Well, interesting enough, he did say recently he looked at the 100 monthly average or weekly average. It was one technical indicator he was looking at, but this time around he's saying it's because he sees oil coming down in a big way. Oil prices, he believes, will come down in the second half of 2022. Of course, we're in the second half already and it started happening. And he believes that was cause a deflationary trend, not just with the US, but entire world, right? But more importantly, this will cause inflation to settle down, come down, and that means Jerome Powell does not have to be so aggressive with his rate hikes. In fact, he could just stop his rate hikes altogether. So basically, Mike believes that with oil coming down, inflation is really going to be solved, right? I don't know that that's it. I mean, obviously, there's still supply chain issues going on, and if this new Congress bill that's supposed to be like $800 billion or something in size, I mean, that's going to cause some inflationary pressures too with all the new money that's going to be printed. I mean, there's still other things going on, but I do believe oil coming down is a big catalyst though, and I've been talking about that. One of the reasons why I think CPI number this Wednesday will come down because oil started coming down in July. So we'll see. That's how it is. All right. What else is there? Consumers expect inflation to slow. The New York Fed survey. A lot of people think the same thing, so that's great. But as for Bitcoin, well, things are still looking good. Here, this is showing the realized price of Bitcoin, kind of like, like a moving average, kind of like the 200 weekly moving average realized price. You could see how every time in the past, Bitcoin has fallen below. Good buying opportunity when it does, right? And then Bitcoin flips above. And we have just flipped above recently. So that is pretty positive. Also, again, things like this, addresses at all-time high continues to go up. This time 0.1 Bitcoin. I just show 1 Bitcoin, 0.01 Bitcoin. I've shown you guys this a lot. But as for Bitcoin, like what Mike says, it's just a matter of time, right? We're definitely seeing a resurgence of interest. We're seeing people come back in, right? We haven't done a V-shaped recovery all the way back to 70K, but that's okay. That's okay. It's just a matter of time, and it gives us more time right now to DCA while things are low. That's the best way to look at it. But the fundamentals and growth adoption is still going upwards, which is great. All right, and then the last few things, let's talk a little bit about altcoins. I did want to talk about 2 other altcoins today. You guys know, a lot of you guys know that Robinhood listed Avalanche and Stellar, right? So it did cause both of these to pump up significantly. But besides just being listed on Robinhood, are there other good things happening with these two? Yes, there is. Avalanche is seeing its NFT volume exploding, right? There's a lot of NFT projects on Avalanche, right? So NFT volume is starting to come back. I was covering TVL yesterday for DeFi projects. Avalanche is officially at number 4 right now. Okay, so they're among the big dogs when it comes to total liquidity on chain. So that's also very positive. Their own browser wallet, Core Wallet, has now expanded. So it supports Ethereum, any EVM chain, Ethereum, Avalanche, and also Bitcoin. You don't see a lot of these universal wallets or browser wallets that actually support Bitcoin and actually can allow, swaps between, right? So that's a pretty big one. Avalanche, Bitcoin, EVM compatible blockchains, so all the EVM compatible ones, right? And Bitcoin. So that's pretty positive also. And you have a lot of game developers that are still coming on board to Avalanche. So Avalanche is still doing well, still growing, right? Despite the weaker price, but it doesn't matter. They're still continuing forward, and that's what we want to see. And then as for Stellar, well, besides being added on Coinbase, they are having smart contracts come aboard. That's something that's a big, I guess, gap right now with Stellar. It's a very fast network, but there's not a whole lot of dApps on board because there's no smart contracts. But that's about to change. They're going to introduce their own smart contracts platform, so a lot of people are excited about this. It's going to be using a different language, I think Rust, and, being that it's on top of Stellar, which is basically close to feeless, and it can scale pretty well. I think about 1,000 transactions per second. This could work out very well. I don't know if it's EVM compatible. I do believe it is. But, yeah, so that's a very big thing coming for Stellar. Also, they have introduced something called Stellar Ramps, which helps the dApps on-ramp and off-ramp with stablecoins and fiat. So it makes it easy for people to actually get into Stellar and get out of Stellar if they wanted to, right? So this is something that they have built. So that makes it easy. And they have other stuff going on too. I know it's kind of old, but they have USDC integration, right? And they have their own wallet integration. I mean, there's a few other things. So Stellar has stuff going on, but the biggest thing I'm excited about is their new smart contracts platform. Because I've always said, I don't know where Stellar's going, right? What their future plans are, but this is pretty obvious that they want to go into the dApps, right? They want to go into the dApp direction, and I think that's pretty positive. All right, and then the last thing is Theta. For you guys that are Theta fans, Samsung is partnering up with Theta Labs. So supposedly for their new phone, which is going to be the Galaxy Fold 4, okay, they're going to be launching some kind of big NFT thing. Maybe they're going to come out with their own NFT marketplace or special NFTs for phone buyers. I don't know what it is, but part of their new line of phones, they're going to have something integrated with NFTs. And this is all running on top of Theta, so pretty positive for Theta overall. I haven't heard much about Theta recently, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. So we will see. We will see. All right. I think that's pretty much it. So I apologize. I'm surprised my hotspot on my phone is doing well. So I cut out a little bit. So the internet just cut out in my home, but luckily, I'm on Wi-Fi and things are back to normal. So let's do some Q&A. Crypto Finder, why don't you discuss up and coming projects before they take off, like Polkadot, Moonbeam? Unfortunate, Crypto Finder, you just invalidated your own question because they already took off, and they're not up and coming because they're already big, especially Polkadot. They're in the billions, my friend. And Moonbeam has been around for a long time, so don't try to show your own bags, man. At least don't do it in that manner. Just be nice about it and say, hey, why don't you talk more about Polkadot and Moonbeam? Stop trying to dress it up like they're up and coming projects. They've been out for a long time. They're already big projects. Please share details on a 90-day clawback rule. In case of event like bankruptcy, like Celsius, we are not safe on an exchange after withdrawal for 90 days. Samuel, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea. So, based on what you said, there's some kind of rule where you could get back your crypto within 90 days or something like that. Yeah, not that I'm aware of. You gotta realize crypto is different than cash. Okay, these exchanges, they go bankrupt. there's no clawback period. Your funds are locked until they decide to give it back to you. There's no recourse. Now a lot of big exchanges do have insurance, so they're not going to just stop withdrawals and just take your funds away. A lot of them have been hacked and they have insurance and covers it. But based on what you said, I don't know anything about it. I don't think it exists. Do you think ETH will reach 15K? Yeah, someday. Someday. I mean, Raul Paul was saying ETH was going to hit like 30K, before things came down. I mean, can it hit 15K 10x from here? It could happen. Probably not within this next cycle, I don't believe, but the next cycle, if Ethereum figures out how to scale completely, like what Vitalik wants, then it's possible. But within this next cycle, I don't think so. Can you replace the XRP outro with the I Am George intro as outro? I missed that, man. Brad, maybe later, not right now. A lot of people actually found it really creepy, so maybe at GeorgeCon or sometime down the road. All right, let's see. Do you see a pullback coming soon? I mean, Wednesday, if the numbers don't look good, there could be a pullback, right? If the numbers look really bad on Wednesday, because most, including myself, think that inflation will go down because oil has come down and things have gotten better, supply chain and stuff like that. Food prices should also come down. Manufacturing, everything should have improved. But let's say we do it in reverse and CPI numbers are horrible, absolutely horrible on Wednesday. That could set back the market for some time, right? So as for a pullback, it could happen. Is it likely? I would say more on no. I would say it would be a nothing burger or it could be a good thing, but there's always a chance. Have I watched Michael Kong's interview today? No. Is having software wallet on a device that you keep offline as secure as cold storage? Basically, as long as you control your own keys. So if you have a Trust wallet, let's say, the keys are stored on the phone, you take the phone off of the internet, you put in airplane mode, you take off the SIM card, right? There's no access to it, you turn it off. Yeah, it's pretty much as safe, right? It's the connection to the internet that makes it a little bit less unsafe versus a hardware wallet. Dude, Fenton, thanks for hard work. Can't be easy to find content every day. Yes, that is 100% true. I appreciate it. And it's 2 times a day, not just 1 time a day. George, people in here mistake you for Google. I think so. I think, both of our names start with G. Maybe that's it. We look alike, sort of. I don't know. You only talk about inflation in the U.S., but look at a macro scale. Well, tell me, where are you from, and how bad is inflation for you? I look at macro scale. First of all, I see U.S. leading the way. In terms of markets, there's no doubt Wall Street leads the way. If Wall Street gets sick, everyone sneezes, basically. But I realize the world market is not just U.S. But, things like oil price, that's global, right? Supply chain issues, that's also global. Now, individual countries and their leaders and their central banks can can F up more than, say, others, right? So like the UK, for example, expects inflation to hit 13%, 13% before it dies down, So individual countries could be worse, right? But generally speaking, I think when I speak about oil prices, energy prices, food prices, supply chains, issues, stuff like that, I think it's global. It's global. It's all connected. Any thoughts on Ryoshi's new project? Tuska, I see it everywhere. I see it nowhere, Matt. So you must be hanging out where all the degens hang out because I don't see it anywhere. And I really could care less. People usually hate. Oleg says, member for 11 months. Thank you, man, for supporting this channel. People hate usually on either what they don't understand or something they know that is better. Mark Cuban could be both with Ada. I really think Charles just rubbed him the wrong way. You know, I think Mark Cuban thinks that he's just above everyone in crypto, first of all, right? I think a lot of people just judge their value or worth based on their net worth. And, you know, obviously he's a billionaire. So I think he thinks everyone in crypto is worth less than him and he gets to say whatever he wants, even though he's a newcomer in this space. Right? So when Charles shot back at him before saying, hey, you know, let's have a conversation, and he treated Charles like as a nobody, right? Then Charles shot back, and then, you know, I think that started kind of like a little feud, right? But I don't think Mark realizes there are many people in crypto that has been in the space much longer than him and much richer than him too. So I think he needs to kind of chill a little bit, step back a little bit. Because he doesn't know it all, especially not in crypto, right? Midterm helicopter money incoming. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Do I have a community Discord? No. I do have a private Discord for my Patreon members, you know, but as for a public one, I don't want to have the responsibility to manage that. It's going to be too many spammers and scammers and all that stuff. No, thank you. Luke sell mainnet soon. I mean, I've been hearing that for like 8 months, so you know it's been a long time. Yeah. You could definitely tell, right? Like, Mark throws his weight around so much on Shark Tank, especially in the early days. He would just piss off everyone else. He knew he had the biggest stick, but still, you know, coming into crypto, he's kind of trying to be like the big dog, top dog, like he knows everything. No, he just got in for a year, right? He's definitely not an OG when it comes to crypto. He needs to take a step back. Of course, he's brilliant. No one becomes a billionaire by accident, right? He's brilliant in his own ways, but not with crypto. Are you buying a Hyundai Envision 74? No, I'm not. Is that the one that looks like a Mad Max EV car? Is that what they're calling it? Envision 74? Is Baby Doge still a good buy? It was never a good buy. It was never, ever a good buy, so not sure where you got that from. Didn't Cuban say Dogecoin has more use case? Yeah, he did. He did. In an interview and on Twitter. His Twitter rant or thread. Yeah. Here's one. Said what I know to be factual. I know non-crypto people using dApps on ETHmatic Flow and buy things using Doge. No one outside of Twitter ADA followers has ever told me they use a particular app on Cardano. Any games, DeFi, NFTs don't have visibility outside the Cardano church. And he didn't just misspell Cardano just like within this tweet, because you go on, he says the same thing about Cardano here. Like, I don't even think he knows the name is Cardano. Later on, he finally like fixed it over here. Yeah. So anyways, I don't know. Just because he doesn't have friends, okay, that let's say bought a Cardano NFT or something, doesn't mean that no one uses it, right? Even though, yeah, it doesn't have a whole lot of dApps. I mean, but still, some people have used Sunday Swap. And there's many others that's on here. I mean, it's still early. We know it's not done, right? But there's no need to be like so negative about it. Again, it comes off like he almost like has to say this in order to protect his ETH, Matic, and flowbacks, right? It's almost like that. It's like, you don't have to be so negative about it. You could just say, okay, it's not for me, right? I don't like it, but you don't have to. You don't have to go in that direction. That's the thing. Too tribalistic, basically. Would I rather hold Cardano or Doge? I guess Doge because Cardano doesn't exist. No, I'm just kidding. I would rather hold Cardano because I do hold Cardano, and I currently don't hold any Doge. So yes, I'd rather hold Cardano than Doge. Do I like Chick-fil-A sauce? Which one? Which one? They have a lot of sauce. Sauces everywhere. VeChain is working with this government that I'm unable to mention due to censorship by YouTube. Looking at news page 12/24/21 and read article. That's from a while ago. I don't know why you can't mention it. Just type it in, man. Chick-fil-A sauce, the original? I don't even know what the original sauce is. When I get their chicken sandwich, does it have sauce in there? No, right? No, it's just mayonnaise. What is it for their chicken nuggets or something? I don't know. I don't know. By the way, I'm going to get some cool sound installation panels for my background. And it's going to make the sound in here much more awesome. And I guess, have something in the background since so many people are complaining it's so bare. Just FYI. George, what's with this paid Phantom show in your chat? Ryan, calm down, man. Phantom Ian's, he's just very passionate about Phantom. At least he's not putting down other projects. He's just very enthusiastic about Phantom. Do you think Mt. Gox will cause BTC collapse? No, I do not. I think it'll be a non-event. Even though there's 150,000 Bitcoins, the space is much bigger. Michael Saylor almost holds 150,000 Bitcoins himself. And there's no guarantee that everyone is going to sell, especially when things are low, right? So no, I don't think it's going to cause Bitcoin to collapse. Can I bring it down a little bit? If it happened where 150,000 Bitcoins are all being sold on Coinbase, okay, all simultaneously, or within a really close proximity to each other, sure, it could bring the market down. But the market will eat it up, and we will move forward. Robert, I saw your message even though it's hidden. I kind of agree with you there, but I'm not going to repeat it. Where do you get your weed? No, not for me. Not ever. Never tried it. Never, not once. Bring the lights up in the background. I could do that. See, with my one click right here on this remote. Voila. I would listen if you stream from the bathroom. I do appreciate that. I do. Yeah, the white powder, that's what I'm into. Not weed. Not once. What are your top 8 coins if you're building a portfolio? I mean, that's why I do the DCA, right? I think tomorrow on Wednesday I'll do DCA again. You could take a look, but they're mostly big caps. I mean, it's no surprise. It's big caps. Big caps are the ones that have most strength. They're recovering the fastest, right? And of course, you got to have Bitcoin in there. If a recession is officially declared, Dan, already declared. Recession is here. We got GDP Q2 numbers already out. It's like last week or 2 weeks ago. No, I think it was last week. We're officially in recession, although everyone says we're not. But 2 consecutive quarters of weakness, that's what we got. We're in recession already. But again, does anyone care? Because this is a Fed-induced recession on purpose. Debo Deep, appreciate that. Bathrooms have great acoustics. That's true, especially when you flush the toilet. White sand beaches. Yeah, that's what I meant by white powder. Arfon. ETH looking strong. ETH is looking strong. Look at it. It's up 50% in the last 30 days. A lot of people like to talk, about ETH. And I told you guys, ETH's demise is so greatly exaggerated, it's not even funny. It's not going to go anywhere. It commands everything. Like all the NFTs, all the DeFi, TVL, bridges, all the innovation, all still on top of Ethereum. So don't discount them. There's a reason why they're so strong. Yeah. Kryptonic, I think you're spreading a lot of FUD there. I'm not even going to repeat what you said. They're not even based in China anymore. They're based in Europe. So, again, I think you're spreading a whole lot of FUD right there. Is this my OnlyFans account? I could. I have my gym in here. I still have my weights right next to me. I could take off my shirt, start pumping some iron, start blasting some music, turn this into OnlyFans. Although they have not approved my account yet, and that's for real. they won't approve me for some reason. They don't like crypto guys, I guess. What do you think about Roku and Uber? I don't like Roku. I just think they're in a really tough spot. I don't like Roku. I think over time they're going to only get worse. Smart TVs are everywhere. Why do you need a Roku? All my TVs are Samsung TVs. Why do I need a Roku? Zero need for it. And every other manufacturer has their own smart TV capabilities too. So Roku is a company that's only going to go downhill. And as for Uber, why not? I see much better buys. But if you're going to go with Uber, they're doing really well in the food delivery space. Obviously, when people are back to work, Uber's going to get hot again. But I don't know. They burn a lot of money. I mean, they're so-so. Again, there's better projects to buy. If you want two tech companies that basically will never go down and will go up infinitely like Bitcoin, go with Microsoft and Apple. Really, if you just have those, you just hold those two. Just hold those two, and you're pretty much set for the next 100 years. I mean, you just look at their growth; it's just like non-stop upwards, and they're only getting bigger and stronger, and no one's close to either one. So, if you want two names to hold, just hold Microsoft and Apple, and then hold Bitcoin. Can't go wrong with that combination. Yeah, I forgot. Throw Tesla in there. Although Tesla is still not out of the water. I mean, all the manufacturers turning EVs, so it could still be kind of rocky for them. in the next 5 years, 10 years, but they still have they have a commanding lead right now. Can you go over OTC market sometime? Why are big buyers allowed to move Bitcoin without affecting the price? Simple green. OTC market does not mean it has to be big buyers. It could be small buyers too. If you want to buy Bitcoin from me, let's say I want to sell Bitcoin to you. I'll sell it to you for 20,000 instead of 23,000 each. Okay? Okay, that's it. You give me 20,000, I send you 1 Bitcoin. I send it to you directly from my wallet. Okay, that's an OTC trade. It doesn't go through exchange. There's no order book that tracks it. That's it. It's just a transaction from one party to another that's off the exchanges. That's off the order books. Anyone could do it. You could do it to your friend. You could do it to your mom. You could do it to your spouse. It's not really complex. Anyone could do it. It's just that the big boys tend to do it more because they don't want to buy on the spot exchanges. If you go buy $100 million of Bitcoin, do you really want to buy it on the open market, on Coinbase? You're going to make the price go up and you're going to end up getting less, right? So, of course, you want to buy it from someone else. That's all OTC is. Don't get Tesla now. Well, Tesla's about to do a 3-for-1 split, so that could be interesting. Even though Google and Amazon did a split, but I mean, they had horrible earnings. That's why they didn't really move up. But when things get better, they will. Tesla still has pretty good numbers, although, like I said, I think it'll be a challenge for them in the next 5 years as everyone else turns EV. It'll be interesting. 5 to 10 years, I would say. But they're still way ahead of everyone else. All right, guys. Whew. It's a lot there. So, all right. Overall, to conclude, Bitcoin still kind of hovering. Altcoins are still going in the right direction. Marc Cuban, not a fan of Cardano, right? Still likes to pick on Cardano for whatever reason. I think in time he'll be proven wrong, and in time he's going to probably do a 180 and say, oh, Cardano's great. I bought in Cardano, just like all the other times he has done before, right? But in the meantime, stay strong, my friends. Good things are coming. This is definitely an exciting time as we are recovering slowly but surely, right? So make sure you stick with me, with crypto, and let's get through this together. All right. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.